Hey everybody, this is Kristal, and I just wanted to touch base with everyone and let you know what I am up to now. I have become a licensed Ziglar coach, and the name of my business is Gloss Mountain Coach. And today I want to welcome you to the mountain mindset. And a lot of people have asked me, what is it exactly that you do? And I just simply say, I help people get to the top of the mountain. And I do that by helping them to be more, do more, and have more. Because we're all made for the mountaintop. And today I want to share with you something very personal that not very many people know, but it's something that truly transformed how I show up in life and how I get past fear. So, first, let me ask you, have you ever felt stuck at the base of your mountain and unsure of how to begin your climb? You're not alone in this. And if you would put down in the comment yes or no, hi Jenny, hello Jamie, um, have you ever felt stuck? Well, I have felt stuck. And today, this is the story of my climb. For years, I struggled with perfectionism. Hey Trisha! Honestly, I feared failing more than I feared not trying. So I'd wait, and I'd stall, and I'd overthink, and I'd plan excessively. And then I came across this quote from Zig Ziglar. You don't have to be great to start, but you do have to start to be great. It hit me right here in the heart. I printed it, I taped it to my desk, I read it every day because it reminded me, thank you, Jenny, that I don't have to have it all together. I just have to begin. And that mindset shift to start before you're ready, it helped me to write, it helped me to live more boldly, um, and just made my life better. My whole life, I've been one of those type A people, you know, the ones driven, organized, striving for perfection in everything that I did. But when my son was in kindergarten, my world had a huge shakeup. Up to that point, I'd had the world by the tail. I was teaching at Northwestern, which was my college I graduated from with an education degree. And I decided at that point, someday I wanted to go back and help other people become teachers as well. And I was doing it. I was back as a professor. I was less than a year from finishing my doctoral dissertation. Had a family. I had a son, a daughter, a wonderful husband, two dogs, a house in a small town. And for me, the best part was all the grandparents were within an hour's drive. And that included my grandma at the time. But one February, I needed to take my son to the dentist. So I stopped by my parents' house on the way, and my dad said, "Hey, why don't you let me drive?" I was excited to do that. Thanks, Paige. And because it was snowy and icy and cold, so I went out to the car to get my purse. And I did that thing, you see on cartoons where they slip and their feet go up in the air and they land on their head. It was probably pretty funny, unless it was you doing it. Um, that day, I had a really, really bad headache. And my dad kept checking my eyes. I wasn't throwing up. I wasn't nauseous. No obvious signs of concussion, but I had this horrendous headache. And we called the local ER that night, and they said, well, if you come in, all we're going to do is watch you. But if you have someone with you, you can stay at home and come in and see the doctor in the morning. So that's what we decided to do. And Mr. Wonderful had to work the next day, even though it was Saturday. So we stayed with my parents. He got up early, went to work, and when I went to get up, I couldn't walk very well. I couldn't talk very well. My eyes weren't focusing. Dad bundled me into the car, Mom kept the kids, and away I went to the doctor's office. I was diagnosed with a severe concussion, and I was given an option that was horrible. I was given the option of being put to bed at the hospital in a medically induced coma to let my brain heal, or I could go home and avoid any kind of stimulation, be in a dark room, take Benadryl every few hours so that I would sleep a lot and heal my brain. Well, of course I went home. I had little kids. Well, the next weeks were rough. I slept the days away. I had to take a leave of absence from the college. Mom and Dad had to take care of the kids because I couldn't do it. Weeks turned into months, but I eventually returned to teaching. Mom and Dad had to drive me. Um, I I couldn't do anything on my own. I Years went past and I had to relearn how to walk and talk, and it was obvious that the doctorate degree was not going to happen. So I had to drop my classes and retire from teaching, and it was the hardest thing that I've ever done. But in the meantime, I'd been to a neurologist, and he changed my diagnosis from a concussion to a traumatic brain injury and encouraged me to take some time to heal. Let me tell you, fear was my constant companion. Um, it was rough because I didn't know if I would ever get back what I used to have. And I remember crying, trying to plan my son's birthday party because I couldn't remember what I needed to do. But the crazy thing was, after I quit teaching, my brain started to heal more rapidly because I didn't have the stress of the discussion, of the dissertation, and I didn't have the stress of a getting up and trying to be my best as a teacher. But I'd been given an opportunity that not very many people have. The neurologist told me that I would retain the things that were good and that I really wanted to retain, and the other things would go away. Um, and he encouraged me to think about what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. Well, I decided if I had to relearn everything, I was going to do it right. I wanted to fill my mind with the good, the clean, the pure, the powerful, the positive. And my grandpa had introduced me to Dr. Norman Vincent Peale and Zig Ziglar and William Danforth. So I decided that's what I wanted to fill my brain with. And I started Automobile University listening to CDs from Zig Ziglar. Life went on. I tried my hand at a lot of things. Eventually, my sister-in-law and I opened a brain training business. And the best part of it was that I could rework the neural pathways in my brain while I helped others rework theirs. My recovery came back to about 90%. However, I had to close the business because I had a family member who had a lot of health challenges that I needed to help with. That's a different story, though. But as life went on, we opened a family business on the farm, growing vegetables with my parents, and I returned to teaching. And this time I decided I wanted to teach in a virtual school so that I could have a little more control of my schedule. And I rediscovered my love of learning and helping others achieve. And this desire just continued to grow as I decided to return to my personal development with the Ziglar Corporation. And I'm now a certified Ziglar coach and mentor. Throughout this journey, I've learned the importance of action. So let me ask you, think about the obstacles that you've faced. What fears have held you back from trying something new? Now, I am not going to recommend the TBI method of changing your life. There's absolutely no way. But one of the most important things that I have learned this time around is the significance of taking action. and beginning something, even if you're not quite proficient yet. Because the path to greatness is built through starting. This can apply to your classroom. It can apply to your research in a laboratory. It can apply in any occupation where you want to strive to do your best. And as I navigated through my recovery, I realized that feeding my mind with positive and empowering thoughts was essential. So I challenge you. Think of the thoughts and beliefs that you need to let go. What positive messages could you introduce to shift your mindset? That's why I now help others take their first step. Whether you're stuck or scared or ready for more, your next step is waiting. One of my mentors, Tom Ziglar, said he was given this self-talk by his fitness coach. Little by little, I'm getting fitter and fitter every day in every way. And that's something that I've started applying in my life every day. I'm making the right choices and getting a little better at what I do every day. I apply it to my virtual classroom, my relationship with others, and planning for the future. If you had to choose to dramatically change your life for the better, what are some changes you'd make? Your past is over. Your future is determined by the choices you make today. I know what it's like to roll with the punches that life throws. And I know what it's like to have to start your life over. But I encourage you to take some time helping others achieve. If anything I've said today resonates with you, I'd love to offer you a complimentary strategy session. I'm going to put a link in the comments, and I'd love for you to book a session and let's talk. No pressure. You don't have to be great to start, but you've got to start somewhere if you want to make changes in your life. I want to see you on the top of the mountain. So book a strategy session as your first step, and feel free to shoot me a direct message or email or call. The information is in the first comment. Well, not the first comment, the comment that I just put in, and also there's a link there to my Google Office profile. I can't wait to see you climb that mountain and reach the top, and I'll see you next Tuesday on the Mountain Mindset. Thank you so much for coming. And Trish, I'm sorry that you didn't know about this, but it's not something I've shared with the general public before. Very few people have known what happened to me, but it changed my life, and I'd like to think that it changed it for the better. See you all next time. Bye.